The Chicago City Treasurer presents the Financial Empowerment Summit, featuring powerful financial advice from multimillionaire stars and experts. This is Careers at BMO.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to the City of Chicago Treasurer's Office for having us. We are here from BMO, and my name is Matthew Pollack. I'm a Chicago North Recruitment Partner Team Lead. I support the U.S. Personal Business Banking segment of the bank. And I want to turn it over to Lucy, and she introduce herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my name is Mike Spilatra. I'm the branch manager of the 111 West Monroe location, which is one of our headquarter branches. I've been with BMO for a little over 5 years, but been in banking since 2013.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Oh, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Lucy Carrasco. I am a campus recruiter here at BMO. I've been with BMO 8 years, and I hire for personal and business banking.
So I am Casey Bakazan. I am a branch manager for BMO Harris in our Cary-Barrington region. I've been with the company for 5 years now. Excited to be here today. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm kicking it over to Ashley.
All right, I'm Ashley Summers-Baker, branch manager in the Bucktown area of Chicago. I've been with BMO for 3.5 years. Super excited to see all these friendly faces today and get to know you a little bit more.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia Arroyave. I am the centralized hiring specialist for our Chicago North region. I have been with BMO for about 4 years. Actually, my anniversary with BMO is going to be tomorrow. So what I do in my role is I help manage the hiring for our region. So I cover roughly 100 branches. And I get to work with everyone here on stage, our recruiters from the recruitment team, our bank managers, and really help find the best talent for BMO. So we're very excited to be here today with everybody. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about what our in-branch roles are. So we have several different roles within our branches, and we're going to go through what each of those roles look like, and then we have a little Q&A session set up for you. And at the end, we will give an opportunity for questions from the crowd as well. So as we're talking, if you have any questions, keep those ready for us at the end. We're really excited to be here today. So Matt, I will kick it back to you to start the roles conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalia. So like Natalia said, we cover the retail banking segment of the organization. We hire for specific roles. And the roles that we hire for are called associate banker roles, retail relationship banker roles, senior banker roles, and we also have a sales and service manager role. And finally, the bank manager roles, as you see here, my colleagues, we hire for those as well. Mm-hmm. What I'll do is I'll kick it off to Ashley, and she can talk a little bit more in depth about the associated banker role. And I like to say that it's the most important role in the bank that we have.
Absolutely. Is the volume okay? Perhaps I will go manual. How's that? Okay, I love it. I love the thumbs up. Thank you. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. The associate banker role is the most important role in the branch. It's the brand ambassadors really that we have, the face of our locations. Our associate bankers can do so many wonderful things, right from the very basic stuff like getting you the cash that you need, assisting customers with a warm welcome, all the way up to pretty soon opening deposit accounts. So it's a really wonderful role to get your feet wet in retail banking. We have full-time and part-time roles, and there's plenty of development opportunity. There are 3 main pillars that we focus on throughout the roles in retail, and you really get to learn all 3 of those in an A-B situation. So those 3 pillars that we focus on are customer experience. We've all had an experience with a teller at a bank at some point in our lives. And we have operations. They get to learn all the ins and outs of operations. And then we have business growth as well. So we get to really get their feet wet in, helping our customers make real financial progress. And so it's a great place to start out if you're new to retail banking.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm going to turn it over to Lucy, and she can dive deep into our retail relationship banker role and our senior retail relationship banker role.
Sure. So for the retail relationship banker roles, this is also a very important role at the branch. I actually started my career as a retail relationship banker. Basically, what they do is they have the connection with the actual customer, which means that they sit down with them, they go over their finances with them. So it's a really, really intimate relationship that you're having with the customers, and it's one of the most prized roles within the company because you get to help people with their financial progress, and you get to really get to know someone on a personal level, and that's what I really enjoyed about the retail relationship banker role when I had it. But like Ashley said, these are some of the most crucial roles at the bank because you're really the face of the bank. You're really the person that people go to, our customers go to for help. So that's the retail relationship banker role in a nutshell.
Thanks, Lucy. The retail relationship banker role is really important because it is a gateway role to other career opportunities within the organization. I started my career out 11 years ago in that role. I'll be celebrating my 11th anniversary in 10 days, so
Awesome.
I'm really proud to work for BMO. But I'm going to turn it over to Casey, and she's going to talk about a little bit about the sales and service manager role.
Yeah, so the sales and service manager role basically captures most of what the associate bankers do also, but with an affinity of management leadership. So the sales and service manager role processes the day-to-day transactions, handles operations and risk management, and they also advocate and serve as a resource and support for the associate banker team.
Great. Thank you so much, Casey. And finally, Mike's going to talk about the bank manager role.
Yeah, so as a branch manager, you got to see your branch pretty much as your own small business. You got to make sure that you're fully operationally sound. It's more than just sitting in the branch and working with customers in front of you. You got to make sure that you're training your team members. You got to make sure each level is very knowledgeable in all the products and they're following the right procedures because it changes frequently. So you always got to make sure you're having that hat of operations plus with sales. And also, what are you doing for your community? We do a lot of work around the branches with our communities with financial literacy seminars. So it's more of getting out in the branch. What are you doing to try bringing business in and also building your team up?
Thank you so much for all of the information, you guys, on our in-branch roles. Truly is such an important part of our business and banking, right? It's the frontline employees that are helping our customers day in and day out. So I love how in each of the roles we talked about how much opportunity there truly is, right, for growth to get to that next role. Next, what we're going to do is go into a Q&A session. So we have some questions for our panelists up here this afternoon. And we're going to talk a little bit about, why do they love working for BMO? Why do they love the roles that they're in? And we're going to start off with Ashley. Our first question for the panel is, why do you love working for BMO?
That's an easy one to answer, although I could be taking a while. There are a lot of reasons I love working for BMO. First of all, I grew up in Canada, so I was quite familiar with the BMO brand. And when it came time for me to make a career change, my husband made fun of me because I chose a Canadian bank. I went straight to home. And so all the reasons that I joined BMO are the reasons I still love it today. Tons of room for growth. I think we've already demonstrated that on this stage today. All of us have, maybe started in an associate banker position and moved up into all kinds of different areas of the bank. But more importantly, BMO is really focused on community, and we give back a lot. Not just to our external community, but internally as well. We have enterprise resource groups, employee resource groups that we can participate in sort of supporting each other as allies. I'm really proud to be the co-chair for the Chicago chapter of BMO Alliance for Women. We do a lot of great work within the organization. We did free headshots for employees last week, that kind of thing. So we get to have fun. There's a lot of fun that happens. But then we go out into the community as ERG groups as well. So BMO really practices what it preaches in terms of, being here to boldly grow the good in business and in life for our employees, our clients, and our communities.
Love that.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We'll turn it over to Casey. Why do you love working for BMO, Casey?
In alignment with a lot of what Ashley said, most of the reason why I love working for BMO is because of the community outreach. I've never worked for a company that did so much for different employee resource groups, different areas, that people come from, and it's important to me that I work for a company that gives back and looks at different ways that we can reach so many different groups. So that's why I love working for BMO.
Awesome, thank you. And Mike, we'll turn it to you.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing that I love about BMO is the culture and the environment that they set for us. I work for multiple financial institutions, but BMO really shows that they really care about their employees. They promote from within. That's why we have so many positions that are open up, because we do get different levels and different engagement with different departments with being in the Chicagoland area. And also is with the financial literacy seminars. My prior bank that I was working at was steering away from that, and that's completely opposite with BMO. We're doing these free financial literacy seminars in all the communities, and it's something that I love doing, and I love that we're helping out the community, so it's something that BMO really stands apart from others.
Thank you. And Lucy, why do you love working for BMO? And I'm going to add to yours, because you're not a branch manager up here with us. You work with college campuses. So tell us a little bit about why you love BMO, but also why do you love your role?
Yeah, so I would say, I've been with BMO 8 years, and it really shows that, I stay here because, one, the culture, it's second to none. The culture here is just amazing. And a lot of these managers have already touched upon the culture that we have at BMO. It's very inclusive. I feel like not just a number. I feel like an employee. Executives, some of them know my name. And it's, when you get recognized and rewarded in those ways, it really goes a long way. As a campus recruiter, the thing that I love is, meeting students and really paying it forward, because when you're talking to students, some of them don't know what they need to do to get into finance or to get into, banking jobs. And so my job really is not just to hire, it's also to coach them, to let them know, this is what we're looking for, put this on your resume, things like that. That's really rewarding to me. I pay it forward how I can. So that's one of the things that is really rewarding about my job. It's not just, meeting the students, it's helping them as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy. Next question I have, and I'm going to start out with you, is what's the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding part from my job is seeing my team members grow and be able to take on other roles within the bank and get promoted. I take great pride in that, and obviously one of my hires was Ashley. When she started with the bank, I hired her as a retail relationship banker with no experience, and within 2 years we were able to get her promoted to a branch manager role, which is amazing. So I love being able to help my team grow and obviously find different the right paths for them. So that's something I love.
Thanks so much, Mike. Lucy, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Well, I would say the most rewarding part of my job is the people that I work with. And the people that I meet, the students that I meet, and getting to see the progress where they started as an entry-level employee and how they are able to grow within the company. Some of these stories are just amazing. They started an entry-level job, and then you see them grow, into more leadership roles. And I would say that that's the most rewarding thing is, hiring someone and then seeing them grow as they go on with the company. So for me, that's the most rewarding.
Yeah, I really like that, Lucy. I think career growth and it's one of the most important things when you look at jobs too. So being a part of BMO and who supports you in that is really great. Next, we'll have Ashley answer.
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but absolutely the development piece, watching my team grow, just being able to be a part of that and challenging myself to inspire to action. That it's two-sided because I have been a product of that, as Mike said. So not only developing my people, but the mentorship that I've been granted since I came into this as a inexperienced banker has been just phenomenal. And even just looking out, aside from just on this stage today, I'm looking out in the audience and seeing folks that have really helped me tremendously and just been, basically a family. We see each other more than, our actual families, the time that we spend together. So the fact that we're all there to support each other on the leadership side as well is really powerful. And then just seeing my team members grow and develop and trying to get them where they need to be is why I show up every day.
Yes. So,
Thank you, Ashley. One thing I wanted to add
follow
is
up behind. So, along with Ashley and Mike, I myself too love the development piece of it. I love watching my team grow, being a part of that coaching process, and just seeing people take even the slightest bit of information that they have and just go be better professionals, better people overall, and just really excel in life. And the second part of that is just the customer experience. I got into this role and into this line of business because I truly love helping people. At the end of the day, it makes me feel good that my team are armed with the knowledge and resources that they need to help each one of you or every client that enters our building walk out with peace of mind knowing that we've helped make their day better. So I think a lot of it is development and customer experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. It's truly, something to be proud of, right? When we have a job that we go to, a career that we go to, a place that is rewarding. It almost doesn't feel like work most days. So thank you, guys. We're going to move on to our next question. And Lucy, I'll bounce it back down to you. What advice would you give someone who is starting their career in banking?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot to say. I'm kidding. So I would say always, as a recruiter, you kind of have to tailor your resume to the job that you're applying to. If you have relevant set of skills, you have to look at the job description. If you have relevant set of skills that is listed on the job description, put them on your resume. That's how we're gonna find you in our database. I would say as well, customer service and retail, they go a long way. That's how I started here at the bank. I started, in a retail job, and then I put those skills on my resume. I said I have customer service experience, I have retail experience. That's how I got into the retail relationship banker role. So all your skills are really relevant, and especially, when it comes to retail banking, branch banking, all your skills are pretty relevant. So make sure that you have that on there. And network as well. Networking is huge. Networking got me to most of the jobs that I have. And so most of the jobs that I had here at the bank, it was, because people knew me, they knew what I did, I met them. And so I would say network. If you have a LinkedIn, if you don't have a LinkedIn, please make one. And if you do have a LinkedIn, please connect with everyone that's in the industry that you want to be in.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucy. A lot of good tips and advice. Appreciate that so much. Mike, what advice would you give to someone entering banking?
The best advice I would give is don't worry or stress too much if you're not sure exactly what you want to do, as long as you're with a great company that is like BMO. Starting out as an associate banker or retail relationship banker, you can see all the different opportunities and paths that you could go into. And the best part, like Lucy said, is the networking. We have employee resource groups, numerous employee resource groups that anyone could join, on top of a great mentorship program. So if you know there's a field you want to get into or you like that we can find someone that is a mentor for you that can help you and learn more about that role. So don't stress too much about it if you're not sure what you want to do, is because once you're in the door, especially within banking, there's so many different routes that you could go into.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Casey, what advice would you give?
Advocate for yourself. Be the first person to stand up and say, hey, I need help, or what resource can you provide me? That's one of the lessons that I wish I would have learned earlier on in my career, is to use your voice, be your voice, and don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Raise your hand, ask questions, and just keep showing up to events like this. If their entry-level position comes open, take it and learn as much as you can to keep advancing your career. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to piggyback off of that a little bit. Actually, I think when you're starting any new job, whether it's a brand new industry or not, the question you have to ask yourself every day is, how can I make myself an asset today? How can I make myself invaluable? I think the practical advice that Lucy shared is just phenomenal. I hope everybody took notes on all that stuff. And exactly what Casey was saying, making yourself a sponge. You have to love learning to be in retail banking. You have to love the dynamic nature of what we do. And if you do that and you absorb all of that stuff and you ask yourself every morning, like, how can I make myself an asset to my team today, to my manager, to my company? Think big and think small, and you're going to do great no matter what role you're in.
Great, thank you. Next, we're going to ask, what does a typical day in the life look like of a bank manager, Ashley?
Typical day in the life. I can tell you one thing, it's busy. It starts early and usually ends a little late, but you have to love what you do. It's quite dynamic. I'm using that word again, but it's very true. So we spend a lot of time balancing the needs of our team members with the needs of our customers, as well as growing and developing ourselves. Bank managers are also specialized in business banking, so we spend a lot of our days making sure that we're cultivating a great level of outreach to the community. We have tons of amazing special lending programs and things like that from a business standpoint. So we kind of split our day between wearing all these different hats, but there's never a dull moment. And in between everything that we're doing that's on our calendar, we're taking the clients that come in the branch too. So I always joke with my colleagues who are in maybe in nonprofit arts administration that it's like doing the job they have, which is really busy, and there's a lot on their to-do list every day, but at any minute a client could walk in and sit down at your desk, and so you have to really be able to juggle all that stuff, which is why I love it. It's a great challenge.
Thanks, Ashley. How about you, Casey? Let's get your perspective.
So I don't have much else to add outside of, we do a lot in a day's time, but, just being the person that brings the energy, being the person that remains a constant resource for my team, a support, kind of making sure we're the middle person between the stressors that we get from just our market demands, and relaying that in a positive way to our teams. So the day-to-day operations, customer experience, being that resource, that support, that advocate for your team. And then just like she said, our day kind of doesn't end just because the bank closes. So just being aware of that's the expectation, and you have to love that role in order to grow in it and be successful in it. And
Thanks so much, Casey. Mike, do you want to add something?
I mean, they pretty much summed it pretty well. So, I mean, the only thing I would add is what I love about the job is your day's never the same. Things are always going to come up, so it's making sure your time management is great. Same thing. You always start the morning with the huddle. That's always a key. From 8:30 to 9, we always do a morning huddle to get everyone on the right path. But then after that, sometimes could be short staffs at other branches. We have to run around and help other branches. So I love that we're working together as a team. On top of everything that was said by Cassie and Ashley.
Thanks so much, Mike. Lucy, do you want to talk about what your day in life looks like as a recruiter?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. I would say being a campus recruiter is dynamic, like Ashley said. It's never a dull moment. Just meeting the students. I go to campuses. This is our busiest time of year because all students are back at school. So you'll see me mostly in campuses like UIC, Loyola, DePaul. And, my day consists of meeting with students, getting to know them, and then, getting to tell them about the opportunities that we have available for internships or for new grad roles. And when I'm not doing that, I'm at home reviewing the resumes and reviewing everybody who's applied to our rotational programs or our internships or our new grad roles. But like I said, it's a really rewarding job. I get to do like resume building with students, giving back that community outreach to the students as well at different universities. Some students need more help than others, and so that's where our sessions come in. They're called Authentic Me. We go over resume building, we go over elevator pitch, and the recruiter wish list, what we look for when you're applying for these jobs. So that's a little bit about what I do on my day-to-day, but it's, like I said, it's definitely something that's super rewarding to me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy. The next question I have for our panel is, and I will start with Ashley, what skill sets stand out the most when interviewing candidates?
It's funny. I think of a couple things that are really hard to measure in an interview, actually, but flexibility, adaptability, those are two huge things that we're looking for in people that are coming into the retail environment. Particularly, all the reasons we kind of just mentioned, your day is never going to be the same. So folks that bring the energy every day and are adaptable to a changing situation. I'm really looking for candidates that are eager to learn and, have that drive to retain the knowledge and to use it in practice every day. So some things that are a little bit hard to gauge in an interview, but I would say are the most important ones that I'm looking for.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Ashley. I'm going to turn it over to you, Casey.
Yeah, so next time I'm not sitting next to Ashley because we think alike. No, I'm just kidding. So, what I look for, people skills. It's important when you're working with the public to have communication skills, good people skills. Those are two of the most important things that I look for and that stand out to me when I'm interviewing with people, speaking with people. And then just like she said, the eagerness and the willingness to want to learn, to want to do well, and to want to do better, not just for yourself, because what we do as a team impacts the person next to us and impacts the person in front of us. So, like I said, again, just communication, people skills, and the willingness to learn and grow.
Thank you so much. Mike?
Yeah, so I would say being the willingness to learn is huge, and also with being outgoing and just always coming with a smile. That's the best thing that you could do. Learning the job, it could be easy. We have a long-term training plan that we have set forth for each position. So as long as you just have that great attitude and the willingness to learn, you could go far with BMO.
Thanks, Mike. Lucy?
Yeah, as far as skills, I would say, I used to be a branch manager just like Ashley, Mike. And the one thing that I would always say is, I want somebody who's willing to learn. I can teach the skills. I need someone who has the will. And so I would say, just somebody who's open to learning, somebody who's open to, be a sponge, like Ashley said. That was my number one thing is, the skills, you'll get the skills with the job, right? But, definitely some of the skills that my colleagues here have mentioned are definitely a plus. But as long as you have the will to learn, the will to get up every day, be friendly with our customers and interact and be out there, that's really all we ask for.
Great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just to add a little bit to what everyone has set up here, when we're looking for candidates, just because you maybe haven't been in banking before, that is completely fine, right? We can teach the banking part of it. So, if it's something that you're interested, come talk to us. We hire people from all different fields all the time. It's just really important that we have the candidate that we're hiring, that it fits our needs along with the candidate's needs. And that way we can have a successful hire and have you grow in your career with us. So just because you maybe haven't been in banking or haven't thought of banking, that does not mean that you, cannot come into the banking world. So thank you guys for that. We have one more question before we open it up to the floor. One of the things that I know I'm really proud about, and I can say everyone on this stage is, Ashley touched on it earlier, our employee resource groups. So BMO is so big on inclusive environment. One of the things that we love to focus on, I'm going to turn this question over to the ladies on stage. As a woman in leadership, how do you feel about BMO's efforts to bridge the gender inequality gap in the workplace? And Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh boy, I get to start this one. Okay. Well, you'll notice if you look up a list of executives at BMO, you're going to see a lot of women on that list, which is pretty cool. So for somebody like me coming into banking, brand new, also coming from a very male-dominated career prior to this, BMO has been such a safe space for me to express who I am. Every part of myself, I try to recreate that for my team. But most importantly, BMO does that with the I call them enterprise resource groups, employee resource groups, same thing. We have so many great ways for employees to find allies, and you'll see mine on the stage. Mike was my manager when I started in banking. He took a huge chance on me because I had no experience whatsoever. And within, a year and a half, I was going up into a leadership position. So we really practice what we preach about really being focused on giving everybody access and developing leadership and getting, every single employee where they want to be with tons of resources available to them. And really proud whenever I look up, Ernie Johansson and Carolyn Booth. They're just great models for me. So I'm super proud of that.
Thank you, Ashley. And Casey, what would you say about how BMO handles helping women in the workplace?
You know I love this topic. So while I understand every company has space to grow in the realm of making sure that we're bridging these gaps, I do sincerely believe that BMO has made great strides to close that inequality gap. Between the alliances with Education to Empowerment, the Women Alliance groups, the Women in Leadership, the Women in Business groups, we've made great strides to make sure the voices that are necessary to be heard are in the places that need to be, so that we are heard, we're supported, we're treated fairly, and taken seriously. I'm very proud to work for a company that recognizes and looks for and reaches out for talent, potential, strength, and tenacity, no matter what or who it comes from. So, very proud of that.
Thank you, Casey. And Lucy, last but not least, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, I would say, the gender gap is real, but we don't feel it here at BMO. I would say I can talk about it in different aspects, right? I can talk about it about recruitment, and in recruitment, we make sure that we have those measures in place so that we're giving equal opportunity to everyone, to women, to different diversity groups, right? So that's just one aspect. Our Zero Barriers to Inclusion, which is our initiative here at BMO, is not only to have more women in executive roles, but more diversity in executive roles as well. I can tell you a personal story on my end. I'm now a board member for Latino Alliance. I do the professional development, and that's an ERG group that we have at BMO. But before I was a board member there, they actually gave me the opportunity to go through a program called Latinas in the Plaza, and it's a cohort of young Latina women who wanted leadership skills. BMO paid for it. They paid $1,000 for me to go through this program, and they really took a chance on me because I was with the company for a little bit, but they took a chance on me. They paid for the program. I went through the leadership program, and then I graduated, being the class speaker for that program. And so I would say, that's one initiative that they took, and they make, their employees really stand out. And that's just one personal story that I have. And there's many employees within BMO that have similar stories to me. And because I went through that program, I got connected to other people who do other things. Because of that instance, I was able to be in a book. So I co-authored a book called Today's Inspired Young Latina, Volume 2, and I was able to share my story in that book as well. But that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for BMO, if it wasn't for the support that they gave me from the very beginning. And so I would just say, I'll leave it with that.
Thank you so much. I love to hear each of your stories. It's so important, and I know it's just one of the many reasons why we're all proud to work at BMO. That wraps up the questions that we have and we wanted to share with you guys. So we are going to open up the floor. We have a microphone that if you have a question, just raise your hand. We're here. We have a lot of people on stage that would be happy to answer any questions. So if anyone has a question, we'll open it up now. And thank you.
Hello, and I think this is for the panel. What do you think BMO is doing in regards to like mental health? Where does BMO stand? And I think in an ever-changing world, right, in an environment where we have so many external things, what does BMO do for their employees to keep in check, to keep our mental health, safe and active and healthy? What are some things that BMO is doing?
I'll start and then I'll pass it to anyone that has to answer. First of all, I love that question. Thank you so much for that because it's really important, right? Like one of the things we talk about, even during an interview stage with a candidate, is work-life balance, right? It all starts, you're at work a lot and that transfers over at home, right? So BMO does a really good job of understanding that yes, we need to support our employees while they're at work, but there's things that are happening outside of work for everybody, right? Like we never know what someone is going through outside of work. So BMO has so much. We'd be here all day to talk about it, but we do have resources for our employees, different assistance programs that can help with either backup childcare, or we offer counseling services to our employees. We'll take breaks during the day, and they even offer things like yoga sessions, like just all different types of things to make sure, because we know that if our employees are happy and healthy on the inside, they're going to be successful for us in their role with BMO. So I don't know if anyone, Ashley, Casey, if any of you guys would have anything to add around the question.
I think you hit most of it. BMO does have what's called LiveWorks, which is a huge resource for the BMO Harris employees. With LiveWorks, you can get 6 free sessions with counselors for yourself or immediate family. So that's extremely important to me as an employee because I do have a child who suffers mental health with a mental health disorder. So it's important for me to know that those resources are there. I make sure I encourage and support my team with any aspects of that. So that's one of the biggest resources we have is LifeWorks.
Yeah, and that reminds me that we have our newest employee resource group is the parents group for folks that, we went through a lot in the pandemic. And so we have a great ERG that's focused on parenthood and assisting, moms and dads who are at work with us. And LifeWorks has been a huge resource. We did a session on it recently, and I always think of it as, the amazing counseling and all of the fantastic things that are in there. There are discounts and all kinds of stuff. And then the session we had recently, I learned that someone used LifeWorks to find a dog walker. So it literally gives you access to everything. They will help you with everything. It's amazing. And I'm also on a team that BMO launched last year that's called Team Rev. It's Recognize, Empower, and Value. And it's all about valuing our employees, which is part of the winning culture that we have at BMO. And those are engagement activities, and they've been really fantastic. It can be something as simple as, National Cookie Day celebration, or, they did some great employee appreciation stuff last year with a massive rollout of, new BMO swag and polos and things like that. So just trying to make sure that employees feel valued. But I do joke that I am terrible at work-life balance because my husband works for BMO as well. And we brought him to BMO because I loved it so much. So when we get home, we tend to debrief a little bit about our BMO day, but we both just love it so much and love the access that we have to all those resources.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that question. Do we have any other questions?
Okay, so hi, my name is Kawana. Listening in on you all as far as when she said, make sure when you're doing your resume, apply for the skill sets that you have, as well as the skill sets of people that are bridging the gap in their job force. What do you all do as far as people that may have medical or physical disabilities that do want to get into banking and get into this kind of field, that notice that they do have certain capabilities that do apply, but certain capabilities that may not apply, or you may not be able to do because of your disability?
Yeah, so we definitely For all of our, I have it here, yeah. So that's a very good question, and we do see that from time to time, but we don't discriminate against any disabilities. In fact, we hire lots of people with disabilities, and really we have an ERG group within our within BMO as well that it also makes our employees feel inclusive as well. So I mean, I would say to anybody that has a disability, don't feel discouraged to apply for a position just because of a disability, because we don't discriminate against disabilities.
The other thing that I would add to that too, Lucy, is we have our employees go through a ton of training too, right? To I think the more the more the better you can handle situations. So BMO is really big about just making sure that we're educated on things like that. All of our employees, whether we're helping a customer or we have a team member that needs assistance and how to handle those situations, right? It's really important that everyone feels welcome and that we're able to assist in any way that we can. So thank you for that question. I appreciate it.
So I am interested in learning a new skill so that I can move up within the company. What are some training opportunities available to new employees? What are the training opportunities available to the new employees?
Yes. All right. I love that. First and foremost, when you join BMO, you got to start off on the right foot, right? So you'll go through, we have a learning and development team that's just dedicated to getting you onboarded and making sure that you're comfortable, because if you're comfortable, the better you're going to do, right, in your career and helping our customers. Once you're kind of up and running in your position, that does not stop. So I always tell, when I'm talking with candidates, one of the things I love about BMO is once you are trained and in your position, the career conversations kind of start almost immediately. So your leader will start talking to you about, what's next. I mean, you have to do well in your current role, right? But we want to help you if we know that you're interested in going into another position. We want to know what that is so we can work on those skills with you. And we have all different types of mentorship programs that you can do. Even our senior leadership team is very involved with our employees and our current talent. Promoting from within is huge for BMO. So anytime we have an employee that raises their hand, they're interested in doing something else, we will get you in front of a mentor or make sure we have a plan in place to help get you to where you want to go. So I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to Mike on career development. I know you've had a lot of
just to go on that, obviously you have your mentor that trained you, but then you have your whole market that you could reach out to for support. There's not just one person you can reach out to. We have a group of bankers that every week that they get together on a call. It's a weekly touch point just to get together and find out what some struggles are going through. So there's a lot of camaraderie between the team that they do work together.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Frank just brought up a good point. Yes, so another point I'll touch on, and it's a personal story too. When I was a banker, retail relationship banker, I wanted to be a manager, just like Mike, just like Ashley and Darcy over there. And I went through a development program at BMO as well. They sent me to Toronto for a couple days, and I got to go to the Institute for Learning, was what we call it in Toronto. And we do have another institute here in Naperville as well, just completely dedicated to the learning and development of our employees. And so that's something that I also got to do here at BMO that they paid for. So like I said, for me, it's the professional development at BMO has been super rewarding, and I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for that.
Thank you, Lucy. Do we have any other questions? We have just a couple more minutes before they kick us off stage. Oh.
All right, so this question is for the entire panel. So what if someone was in the company for a couple months and they wanted to like transfer to a different state? How long would that process take?
Yeah, it's actually really exciting right now. We're in the process of expanding to other states. So that is one of the nice things about being with a bank that is in several different states, right? And we have employees all the time who are maybe getting tired of the winter and they're like, you know what, we want to go to Arizona. And that's definitely, a huge opportunity to be able to, transfer with your role. BMO, again, is just so focused on the employee. We want to make sure that we can keep you. And even if you need to move out of state, if BMO's there, we will do everything in our power to try to find you a position there because we don't want to lose a good employee, right? So, the leaders, our recruiters, if we identify an employee that is looking to move out of state, we start making phone calls and looking for openings for you to really help with that transition for you so you can stay with BMO and continue your career on in your new state. So that's one of the benefits of being with a company or a bank that is in several states because you have a lot of opportunity.
And Natalia, I just want to tack on to that in the talent profile that we have internally, which is like your internal resume, even if a state move is not imminent, it's not something that, you're doing for family reasons or whatever, if you're open to it, you get to list that in your talent profile. So if that perfect role comes up for you that's not in Chicago and you're located here, they're going to know that you're open to, Kansas or wherever you might want to go. And so that's not a barrier. Basically, geography is not a barrier either. And as Natalia said, we're expanding to all kinds of new states too. So pretty exciting opportunity there.
Thank you, Ashley. All right.
Right up front.
Okay, I do have another question. So thinking about, talent acquisition and things like that, once you are an employer of BMO, do you all have a branch that is strictly dedicated to training and development? Like, this is my skill set. My skill set is to train people to be ambitious. My skill set is train people to not necessarily, you can train somebody how to do a banker, but train somebody to have that mentality of this is what you want to do, as well as not necessarily train personality, but basically a training of basically BMO.
Yeah. Yes. So I touched a little bit about the IFL in Toronto, and then we have at Naperville. We also have another facility that's just dedicated to the training of our employees, and so we do have opportunities that come up from time to time for those people that just want to get into training. We've hired a lot of people that have a background in like education. And they, go into those types of roles where they train our employees on, what to do and how to do it. Yeah, definitely. Frank.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come here today, to share your story, to talk about BMO. And I really, truly appreciate everything that I've heard from each and every single one of you because it was very authentic, right? And, clearly BMO is a great organization to work for. And I just hope that, everyone who's listening today is gonna walk away with, a different feeling, right? Or having that impulse to take the next step, because like Natalia said, you don't necessarily have to have banking experience to join the bank, right? So, don't ever shoot yourself in the foot without first giving yourself that opportunity. But again, to the panelists, thank you so much for your time. You all look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. That concludes our time today on stage. So I just want to say thank you to the panelists that are up here today. You know, we can tell, we can feel it, right? Like we know you guys all love the company that you work for, and it shows. So I appreciate all of you guys coming up here. I know being on a stage like this can be a little nerve-wracking, but Matt and I truly appreciate each of you guys. We also wanted to thank, the Chicago Treasurer's Office for hosting this event. BMO has been, so happy and excited to be here today. This is a phenomenal event. I hope everyone has, taken away some good information. We are over in our BMO section, so please stop by just to say hello. We have a bunch of goodies to give away, but we'd love to meet each and every one of you guys at our booth. So thank you. I don't know, Matt, if you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, once just reiterate Natalia's words, but we want to thank the city's treasurer's office for bringing this event together, bringing all of us together. But like Natalia said, make sure you stop by the BMO Zone, say hi to us, pick our brains, and grab some goodies. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The City Treasurer of Chicago thanks all of our sponsors, including title sponsor BMO and presenting sponsors Chase and Wintrust, and all of our community partners, exhibitors, and guest speakers for their generous support and participation in building wealth today for tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.